On the last episode of AI Writes Star Wars, we tried to get an AI to write us perfect Star Wars. And I'm pretty sure we got close to that goal, but this time we're going to do something a little different. We've created a bracket of 16 of the most powerful Star Wars characters, and we're going to have them all fight to the death to see which character is truly the most powerful using an AI tool. We're going to input both these characters into the AI tool. We're going to set up a fight between them, and they're going to fight to the death. And whoever comes out on top, either by getting 3 confirmed hits on the opposing character or by getting a complete kill shot, wins the match. And we'll go through the bracket, and whoever is the last person standing will be crowned as the most powerful Star Wars character. So, without further ado, let's get this going. Okay, so we're going to start with Luke Skywalker versus Ahsoka Tano. Ahsoka Tano and Luke Skywalker face each other in the middle of the Tatooine desert. Ahsoka ignites both of her white lightsabers and Luke activates his green saber. Both combatants race at each other, their blades raised for the kill. They are so close that they can feel the heat radiating from the blade as it slices through the air. The two Jedi have been fighting for hours now, but neither one has managed to score a hit on the other. Luke is about to lunge forward when he notices something odd about Ahsoka's eyes. She doesn't seem to be looking at him. Instead, she seems to be staring off into space. He glances over at her with concern. "Are you okay?" he asks. "I'm fine," she replies curtly. Then she swings her lightsaber down towards his head. Luke manages to deflect the attack, but not before receiving a nasty gash across his right shoulder, so that's 1 hit for Luke. As he stares down at his blood-soaked shirt, he realizes that he needs to take this fight seriously if he wants to win. It's probably a good idea. He turns around and lunges forward with all his strength. His blade strikes Ahsoka hard in the chest, sending her flying backwards, so it's 1-1. Her body hits the ground with a loud thud. Luke watches as she lies motionless on the sand. The battle between them is finally over. Ahsoka's been killed. Luke has won. So Luke advances and Ahsoka is eliminated. Okay, the next round is Darth Vader versus Mace Windu. A fight that many people want to see happen, but I think Mace Windu is dead, but that doesn't matter for here. Mace Windu is very much alive, and he's coming for Darth Vader. He wants his revenge, even though revenge is not the Jedi way. Okay, here we go, Mace Windu versus Darth Vader. Mace Windu has spent years looking for the man who betrayed him. He has finally found him upon the fiery world of Mustafar. He bursts into the throne room of Vader's castle, his purple lightsaber drawn and a scowl on his face. Vader rises from his seat and activates his own lightsaber. Mace rushes violently at Vader. "I have waited too long to kill you," he snarls. "You will die by my hand." Vader parries with his lightsaber, deflecting the attack. Then he spins around and delivers a vicious kick to Mace's chest. We'll count that as a hit, so 1 hit for Vader. The Jedi falls backward over the dais behind him. The Emperor stands up in his throne and addresses the audience that is gathered before them. "A fitting end to an old rival," he says. "This is the last battle between these two great warriors." The crowd erupts in cheers as they watch the duel. Leia looks on, her heart pounding. She can't believe she is witnessing this. The Emperor raises his hands toward the sky. "Let us honor our heroes. May the Force be with you, Master Windu." Leia sees Mace stagger back to his feet. He's dazed, but not beaten. He swings his lightsaber again, but Vader dodges it easily. This time, however, the force of the blow sends him stumbling back against the wall. "Do you yield?" the Emperor asks. Mace bows his head. "Yes, Your Majesty," he says. "Then I declare this duel concluded." The crowd roars its approval. "And so it is," the Emperor says. So Mace surrendered. I'm not sure we can accept that. Let's go back. The score will still remain 1-0 in favor. 3-1 in favor of Darth Vader. Alright, the next heat is, and this one could go either way. It's Maul versus Watto. And we all know Watto's power, we don't need to talk about it, but I think Maul could present a good challenge for him. My money's on Watto though. Alright, Maul versus Watto, let's go. Maul staggers into Watto's shop, broken ship parts in his hand. The Toydarian has ripped him off. He throws down the parts and draws his double-bladed lightsaber with fury. Watto turns and regards the former Sith Lord with a cold stare. Maul charges at Watto, aiming to cut down the sexiest Toydarian in the galaxy. Watto is quick though and moves out of the way just as Maul reaches him. He then takes a step back and lets Maul run right past him. As Maul turns around, he sees Watto holding a large laser cannon in his hands. Watto's packing. He fires it at Maul, who dodges it easily. The laser hits the wall behind him, shattering it. "I'll show you what I can do," Maul says as he runs at Watto again. This time Watto doesn't move out of the way. Maul looks up and sees that Watto has set the cannon on top of the counter. Maul stops and tries to think of something else to do. He tries jumping over the counter but realizes there isn't enough room for him to get by. "Come on, Maul," he yells, "think of something." Maul continues to look at Watto. He notices that Watto is staring at him intently. Maul looks at the cannon and decides to try something. He walks towards the cannon and takes a deep breath, then leaps up onto the counter. He grabs the gun and aims it at Watto. "What are you doing?" Watto asks. "Don't worry about me," Maul replies. "Just keep firing." He pulls the trigger and the cannon blasts a hole in the wall next to Watto. "You're not going to get away from me this time," Watto says. "Not while I have my blaster." Maul continues to aim the cannon at Watto. "You should know me. You should know better than to mess with Watto," Watto says. Damn right. "Now I'm going to blast you into space dust." Maul fires the cannon once more. The shot hits Watto in the chest and sends him flying through the air. Maul quickly gets off the counter and rushes after Watto. That's one hit for Maul. He sees that he is lying on the floor unconscious. Maul picks up his fallen double-bladed lightsaber and raises it high above his head, then uses the Force to throw the cannon across the room. "Ha," Maul laughs, "this will teach you not to rip people off." Maul then turns to see Watto slowly getting to his feet. Maul then notices that Watto's blaster is missing. He then notices that Watto has a second blaster in his hand. "You shouldn't have tried to shoot me," Watto says. "That was very foolish." Watto fires his blaster at Maul, who dodges it easily. "It's time for us to settle our differences once and for all," Watto says. Maul looks at Watto with disgust. "I don't think so," he says. "I've had enough of your games." Maul swings his lightsaber and slices Watto in half. He then steps over Watto's body and leaves the shop. "Maul!" Watto cries out. "I knew you were going to be trouble. You and your father both."
Fatality.
Okay, so Watto got cut in half. So I feel like that's a win for Maul. Even though Watto's not dead, he got cut in half. And it skipped to the next day. I'm going to declare this, as much as it hurts my heart, a win for Maul. An absolutely dominant win over Watto. Alright, so this is a familiar rivalry. Obi-Wan versus General Grievous. Let's go. General Grievous is back from the dead. After spending 8 months in a burn victim recovery hospital, he has tracked Obi-Wan Kenobi down to his hut on Tatooine. He ignites all 4 of his lightsabers and spins them with his cyborg arms. Kenobi activates his own lightsaber and leaps at Grievous, seeking to finish what he started. Grievous blocks Kenobi's attack and slices into him. I think that's a hit, so 1 hit for Grievous. The Jedi deflects 2 more strikes, but cannot block the 3rd. His lightsaber cuts deep into his chest. The General laughs as he pulls it out. That's 2 strikes for Grievous already. "I will not be denied," Kenobi screams. "You have no right to my body." Grievous raises his hands high above his head and summons lightning from the sky. A bolt of electricity hits Kenobi in the chest, sending him flying backward through the air. And with that, Kenobi's down. He loses 3-0 in a very quick fight against Grievous, who can summon lightning from the sky, an ability we never saw him use until now. He was really saving that until it mattered most. Man, that's a brutal one if you're an Obi-Wan fan. Absolutely brutal. Okay, the next heat is Kylo Ren versus Count Dooku. The 2 Sith clash, sparks flying as they fight. Both of them are incredibly skilled with the Force, and their abilities complement one another well. They're able to block or deflect most of the blows from each other, but not all of them. A stray strike catches Dooku on his shoulder and he cries out in pain. That's 1 hit for Kylo. He shakes it off though and continues fighting. Kylo's blade flashes faster than anyone can follow, and Count Dooku is forced back several steps. His eyes widen as he realizes that this isn't going to be an easy battle. Kylo takes advantage of the momentary opening, lunging forward in with a vicious attack. Count Dooku tries to dodge, but his lightsaber slips out of his hand. Dooku, what are you doing? It flies through the air, landing right next to him. Kylo follows up by slamming his saber into Count Dooku's stomach, and then again when he drops to his knees. I'll count that as 1 attack. That's 2 for Kylo, 0 for Count Dooku. The force of the blow sends Count Dooku tumbling backwards, falling onto his backside. Man, he's really choking in this one. You will die, Kylo growls as he stands over Dooku. I will kill you. Count Dooku gets back to his feet, spitting blood from his mouth. He reaches for his lightsaber, which has fallen away from him during the fall. Kylo rushes forward and attacks him once more. This time, he doesn't try to deflect or block any of the strikes. Instead, he goes straight for the kill, slashing wildly at Count Dooku. Count Dooku dodges the first few slashes, but then he loses his balance and falls to the ground. Dooku is he can't get out of his own way. Kylo brings his saber down, cutting deeply into Dooku's chest. Count Dooku screams in agony as the wound begins to heal. Die, Kylo Ren roars. And that is a win for Kylo. He has struck down Count Dooku. He has done what his grandfather did once, and he has defeated Count Dooku. Kylo Ren advances to face either Palpatine or Qui-Gon in the next round. Okay, Jar Jar Binks, the Hidden Sith Lord, versus Grandmaster Yoda. Who will win this battle of the Titans? Jedi Master Yoda faces Representative Jar Jar Binks with a cool stare. He knows the truth, that Jar Jar is the Sith Lord. Jar Jar laughs maniacally as Yoda draws his lightsaber and flips at him. The Jedi Master uses the Force to pull Jar Jar's lightsaber from its holster and then slices it in half. A brilliant move by Yoda there. Jar Jar shrieks and falls to the ground. A red laser light shoots out of Yoda's lightsaber, striking Jar Jar on the forehead. That's 1 hit for Yoda. His head explodes into 1,000,000 pieces. He was the Sith, Yoda yells. I knew he had to be. So Jar Jar's dead. Yoda killed Jar Jar by shooting a red laser out of his lightsaber and blowing his head into smithereens. So that is the quickest battle, and Yoda has defeated Jar Jar with ease. Qui-Gon versus Emperor Palpatine. Let's see who takes this one. Emperor Palpatine stands in the middle of the arena on Exegol, the Sith Eternal chanting in the stands around him. Qui-Gon Jinn draws his green lightsaber and swings it at the Sith Lord. The Emperor is swift to deflect the blow with his own weapon. They exchange blows for a moment before Qui-Gon uses the Force to send the blade flying off into the stands. The Sith Lord recovers quickly, drawing his lightsaber back from out from behind his back. Qui-Gon's eyes widen when he realizes what the Emperor has done. He sent his own weapon back to him. He pulls it out of thin air before he can attack again. The Sith Lord leaps forward, slashing across Qui-Gon's chest. That's 1-0. Palpatine. The Jedi falls backward, blood streaming down his white robes. You have failed me, says the Emperor. I will now put you out of your misery. He raises his hand high above Qui-Gon's head. But then he pauses. A look of confusion crosses his face. Qui-Gon moves just enough so that the Emperor's arm goes past him instead of striking him dead center. In one swift motion, Qui-Gon brings his blade up between them and strikes the Emperor across the throat. That's 1-1, but does this kill Palpatine? The Sith Lord lets out a gasp and clutches at his neck, trying desperately to hold back the blood that gushes from his wound. His hand drops and the lightsaber flies out of his grip. It hits the ground with a clang and Qui-Gon rises to his feet, blood running down his hands. Qui-Gon takes a step towards the Emperor, but the Sith Lord grabs his wrist, trying to stop him. Qui-Gon twists his body and breaks free, but not before the Emperor gets a good look at his face. It isn't Qui-Gon. The Emperor looks shocked for a moment, but then his face changes. He smiles. Surprised, he asked. Qui-Gon lunges forward, but the Emperor dodges his attack. What is going on? Qui-Gon tries to bring his blade up, but the Emperor grabs it by its hilt and holds it against Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon's throat. You've failed me once too often, the Emperor says. Now I'll kill you myself. Qui-Gon tries to pull away, but the Emperor is stronger than he appears. He presses the lightsaber harder against Qui-Gon's neck. A second later, something hard and metal slams into the side of the Emperor's head. He stumbles backward, dropping the lightsaber, and Qui-Gon rushes forward, grabbing it. That's 2-1 Qui-Gon. He used the Force to pull something into the Emperor. This ends here, Qui-Gon shouts, but the Emperor is already standing over him. No, my friend, it never did. With one final swing of his green blade, the Emperor cuts Qui-Gon's throat. That's 2-2 unless this is a kill blow. The Sith Lord watches as his old master bleeds out into the sand. Fatality. Then he turns to face the crowd. Sith, he cries, to the death. So it seems like that was a killing blow, and the Emperor has defeated Qui-Gon, somehow using a green blade to strike down Qui-Gon Jinn. Rey versus Anakin, two main characters of their respective trilogies. Let's see who comes out on top. Rey stalks toward Anakin, her yellow lightsaber blazing at her side. Anakin ignites his blue lightsaber and readies to duel Rey. She's too close for him to get off a clean shot, but he'll take the hit if it means taking her down. You can't win this, she says. I'm more powerful than you could ever imagine. Anakin ignores her words and lunges forward with his blue blade. He strikes her from behind, knocking her to the ground. That's one hit for Anakin. His blade slices across her back as she tumbles. That's still just one hit. Her red cape is torn and her back is bleeding, but she manages to roll over and come up swinging. Rey cuts Anakin's arm off at the elbow, then grabs his wrist and twists hard. That's 1-1. The Force pushes against her and throws her away. Anakin falls on top of her, his blue blade coming within inches of her face. Why do you fight me, he asks. We're both Jedi. She laughs. What are we now? We're the only ones left. Anakin looks around at the other Jedi who have fallen. Jesus, this is dark. We were never meant to be alone. He takes out his lightsaber and points it at Rey. Then let us join forces. Together we can find a way to defeat the dark side. Rey stares into his eyes. Together, you mean, or together until one of us dies? Either way, Anakin says, but I won't kill you, not yet. Rey gets to her feet and backs away. I'm not afraid of dying, she says. It's what comes after that scares me. Anakin nods. That's why I want to help you. You can see it in my eyes. I'm telling the truth. Join me. Rey smiles. The Force will guide me. Anakin lowers his lightsaber. Good luck then. They stare at each other for a moment and Rey... Okay, so they've gone peaceful. It's 1-1. Anakin's missing an arm. Let's reset this and let's go. I'm not going to let you get away with this, Rey shouts, but she's no match for the Dark Lord of the Sith. He spins around her and strikes her down with a single blow from his red blade. Is that a kill? She crumples to the ground in a heap. Anakin turns his back to face Luke. You're coming with me. Luke looks at him blankly. No, he says. That sounds like Anakin just killed Rey.
Fatality.
Rey's dead. Anakin defeats Rey. He advances to face Yoda in the next round. Okay, so this is the board for round 2. We have Luke versus Maul, we have Kylo versus Sidious, we have Vader versus Grievous, and we have Yoda versus Anakin. Let's start with Luke versus Maul. Luke Skywalker faces down Maul with his green lightsaber burning in his hand. Maul activates his double-bladed lightsaber and spins at Luke like a tornado. Luke deflects the first attack, but not the second. The two blades clash again, this time slicing through Luke's tunic and drawing blood. That's one hit for Maul. You're no match for me, says Maul. I am the greatest Sith Lord of all time. It's debatable. I'm going to make sure you eat those words, yells Luke. He attacks again, moving quickly, blocking each blow that comes from Maul's blade. The two fighters circle each other, trading blows and counters until they are both panting heavily. Finally, Luke manages to push Maul back against the wall. His opponent is trapped between the stone and the metal bars on the window. As he prepares another attack, Luke suddenly realizes something. He can't remember where he got his lightsaber. Where did I get this? Asks Luke. Maul looks at him calmly. It was given to you by Darth Vader. No way, that can't be true. Maul laughs. Yes, it is. You were trained by the best. Luke grins. Well, I've got one thing to say about that. You're not so tough now. With a quick flick of his wrist, Luke cuts off Maul's left arm at the elbow. It's 1-1. The Sith Lord falls to the floor screaming in agony as he tries to pull his severed limb back into place. There's only one problem, says Luke. You're still here. He grabs a hold of the lightsaber hilt and pushes it deep into Maul's chest. A moment later, Maul stops moving. Luke takes a step back and looks down at his handiwork.
Fatality.
Luke has defeated Maul and advances into the semifinals. Alright, Vader versus Grievous, two cyborgs. Darth Vader and General Grievous face each other, their lightsabers drawn. Two horrific cyborgs, though Vader can use the Force and Grievous cannot. Vader calmly strides towards Grievous, his lightsaber raised. You are outnumbered, says Darth Vader, and you will be destroyed. Grievous snarls at him. The odds don't matter to me. He brings his own lightsaber up in a sweeping arc that would cleave Vader's head from his shoulders if it connects. But Vader is not there to be cut down by a single blow. The Force flows through him, carrying him to an attack of his own. His blade meets Grievous's with a metallic clang, sparks flying between them, so they're fighting with actual swords. Then they break apart again as the two combatants move around each other, searching for weaknesses. Vader takes advantage of this momentary respite to draw on the Force once more, feeling its power course through him like molten lava. It burns away his pain and gives him strength, and allows him to strike out with all his might. He sends a bolt of energy at Grievous, but the droid blocks it with his lightsaber, then knocks Vader's weapon aside with one clawed hand. The Dark Lord swings back, but Grievous ducks under the blow and spins around and stabs Vader in the chest with his own sword. The blade severs his armor, leaving only the bare flesh beneath it exposed. That's one hit for Grievous. Vader falls backward, blood streaming from his wound. Grievous moves toward him, but Vader pushes himself to his feet and lunges forward, swinging his lightsaber wildly. Grievous parries the blow easily, but is forced to retreat as Vader continues to pursue him. "You will pay for your treachery," Vader roars. Grievous looks at him coldly. "I'm no traitor," he replies. "I serve my master. He's dead," Vader growls. "Now I'll have your head." But Grievous is not afraid. He raises his saber and strikes at Vader, who blocks the blow easily, then sends a stream of force at the droid. Grievous dodges it, but the force causes his circuits to overload, and he loses control of his limbs. He stumbles backwards, his body twitching uncontrollably as he tries to fight off the paralysis. I'll count that as a hit for Vader. 1-1. As Vader approaches him cautiously, his lightsaber held ready in front of him. "It's over, Vader," says Grievous. "You've lost." But Vader does not believe him. He reaches out with the force, trying to find some weakness in Grievous's metal shell. Suddenly, the droid seems to vanish, then reappear behind Vader, who whirls around only to see that he has been tricked. Grievous raises his lightsaber, preparing to bring it down upon the Dark Lord's skull. Before he can do so, however, a bright blue one shines in the air above the two combatants. It cuts through the darkness like a laser beam, and the sound of it echoes throughout the chamber. The light is coming from the helmet of a tall figure standing at the far end of the room. He holds his lightsaber in one hand, with the other is extended towards the dueling cyborgs. "You are Jesus." Okay. Thrawn shows up. We can't. We're gonna have to go back. So it's 1-1. Vader and Grievous are tied. "You have failed me again," says Vader. "I thought you were supposed to be my best operative." "He was on your ship when it exploded," says a voice behind them. Vader turns, but Grievous is too fast for him. He slices through the air, slicing off half of Vader's head. The Sith Lord falls backwards into the lava pit, which immediately begins to bubble up from beneath him. Grievous laughs as he raises his own lightsaber in triumph.
Fatality.
"A Jedi could never defeat me," he yells. "Only I am worthy of the name Darth Vader." So Grievous has killed Darth Vader and has taken his name. So Grievous, aka Darth Vader, advances to the semifinals. Alright, Kylo Ren versus Emperor Palpatine. Kylo Ren ignites his lightsaber and points it directly at Emperor Palpatine. Palpatine laughs and draws his own crimson blade. He spins at Kylo Ren in a wicked frenzy. The two duelists cut through the air like sharks circling prey. Kylo's eyes burn with hatred, but he cannot win this battle. It is as if he has no control over himself or his power. Well, that's not a promising start. The Force flows through him, but does not direct his movements. His lightsaber cuts through empty space and shatters against the side of Palpatine's chest. That's a hit for Kylo. Palpatine smiles and raises his sword high. "You were never strong enough to defeat me," he says. "I have always been stronger." The red blade slices across Kylo Ren's throat, cleaving his head from his body. Blood splashes onto the snow and ice beneath him. Emperor Palpatine has decapitated Kylo Ren. That is a win for Palpatine, and he advances to the semifinals to face Luke Skywalker. Yoda versus Anakin. For this one, we're going to do kind of a what if Yoda had gone to Mustafar instead of Obi-Wan and fought Anakin. Yoda stares at Anakin, the body of Padme lying at the new Sith Lord's feet. Anakin draws his lightsaber and backflips directly at Yoda, engaging the little green man in a duel. The Jedi Master knows he's outmatched, but he has no choice but to fight. He cannot allow Anakin to escape with Padme's corpse. Anakin uses the Force to launch himself into the air. Yoda grabs for him as he flies past, but he can't reach him. As he descends, he swings his blade at Yoda, cutting off half his arm. That's one hit for Anakin. The two fighters fall through the roof and crash into the courtyard below. Yoda lands on top of Anakin, who tries to stab him with his lightsaber. Before he can finish the deed, Yoda pushes him away and jumps up onto a pillar. "You're not going anywhere," says Yoda, holding his lightsaber high. "Not while I'm still alive." He takes aim and fires. Anakin blocks the blow with his lightsaber, then dodges and slices Yoda across the face. That's 2 hits for Anakin. Yoda stumbles backward but regains his footing and rushes forward again. Anakin blocks another attack from the old Jedi Master, then throws him down to the ground. Yoda leaps over him and charges towards the door, which Anakin slams shut behind him. "What are you doing?" asks Anakin. "I thought you were my friend." "So did I," says Yoda, "but you have changed. I am not what I was," yells Anakin. "That is why I need your help. You said so yourself."
"No, I didn't," said Yoda. "And even if I had, it would be wrong for me to help you."
I'm really committing to the voice.
"I've been watching you, young Skywalker. You have become too powerful, too dangerous."
"Then why don't you just kill me? That's what you want, isn't it?"
"It would be an easy thing to do,"
said Yoda.
"I could snap your neck right now, and no one would ever know."
but I won't because you are my friend. If that's true, says Anakin, then why did you send me after Palpatine? Because he was a danger to the Republic, says Yoda, a threat to the balance of power, and I knew that you would stop at nothing to destroy him. You're lying, says Anakin. You sent me to kill Palpatine because you wanted him dead. Perhaps, says Yoda, but it doesn't matter. I was hoping you might succeed. If you did, you would have proven yourself a worthy apprentice. Now, however, I feel that you will fail. You are far more powerful than Palpatine, but you lack discipline. You only care about revenge. You have lost sight of the bigger picture. That is what makes you dangerous. You must learn to see things in perspective. Maybe so, says Anakin, but I'll still get my revenge. Then you should leave here immediately, says Yoda. Go back to Coruscant, find Obi-Wan Kenobi, tell him what has happened. He will know how to defeat Palpatine. How can you say that, says Anakin. After everything we've been through together, you expect me to believe that you're on his side? Okay, they're just talking at this point. We need them to fight. We're going back to the top. It is 2-0. Anakin leads. Yoda dodges to one side and blocks Anakin's first strike with his staff. He then counters with a quick blow to the chest that knocks the young Jedi backward into the air. He lands on top of Padme's body, and she looks up at him with tears streaming down her face as he brings his lightsaber around for another attack. Anakin swings his blade at Yoda's head, but the little Jedi uses the Force to throw himself off balance and deflect the blow away from him. Then he quickly rolls out of the way of Anakin's second swing. As the two combatants circle each other, Yoda continues to use the Force to push against Anakin, keeping him off balance and preventing him from landing any real blows. The two combatants exchange several more blows before Yoda finally gains the upper hand. With a series of swift attacks, he pushes Anakin back towards Padme's body. The fallen princess looks up at him with pleading eyes, begging for help, but Yoda doesn't stop his assault until Anakin is standing over her lifeless body. "Padme!" Anakin cries, looking down at her. "No, not you too!" He raises his lightsaber high above his head, ready to bring it down on Yoda's neck, when suddenly the sound of a siren fills the room. Anakin freezes in place as a large armored door... Oh, God. Okay, so now there's interference, so we're going back to the start. A droid has interfered in the duel. "Anakin," Qui-Gon calls out, "you are not thinking clearly. You must listen to me." The Jedi Master's words fall on deaf ears as he watches his apprentice battle it out with Yoda. Qui-Gon reaches out and grabs Anakin by the arm, pulling him off balance. As he does so, Anakin spins around and slices into Qui-Gon's chest, severing one of his arms. The Jedi falls to the ground, screaming in pain. "No," Yoda says softly as he raises his lightsaber high over his head. He brings it down in a vicious arc that splits Anakin's torso in two. Okay, there's interference on Qui-Gon's part, so that won't count. Let's start again. "Anakin," Yoda says calmly, "I am your master." Anakin laughs. "You are not my master." He moves to strike with his lightsaber, but Yoda blocks him easily. "No," Yoda replies, "but I can be if you let me." The two battle it out for several minutes until finally Yoda pushes Anakin away and backs up against the wall. The Jedi Master has been forced into a defensive position. "Let go of the anger inside you," Yoda pleads. "It will destroy you." Anakin glares at the little green man and says, "I have no anger left." Yoda shakes his head sadly and begins to move towards the exit. "Where are you going?" Anakin asks. "To get help." Yoda replies. "Who? The Council?" Yoda answers. "They will know what to do. And when they find out that I killed their precious Padme..." God, they're talking again. They're talking again. "Anakin," cries Obi-Wan, "what are you doing?" The Jedi Master rushes to... Okay, again, there's interference. We need to just get a clean fight between Anakin and Yoda. As they fight, their lightsabers clash and the sound of their blades echoes off the walls. The Force is strong with this one. Anakin, Jesus, can someone's... We just keep getting constant interference in this duel. Like, let the two guys fight. The Jedi Master is more than happy to oblige. He's been waiting for this moment since before he left Dagobah. "Anakin, you have failed me," Yoda says as they engage in battle. "You are not worthy of being my apprentice. I am your pupil," Anakin shouts over the sound of their blades clashing. The combatants circle each other warily, each one waiting for an opening. Anakin leaps forward with a sweeping strike that slices through Yoda's robes. A small cut appears on the side of Yoda's face, but it doesn't seem to faze him. Okay, we won't count that if it doesn't faze him. Instead, he uses the opportunity to swing his staff around like a baton, striking Anakin across the chest. That's one hit for Yoda, 2-1 Anakin. "Your attack was clumsy," Yoda observes. "It lacks finesse." "My father would be proud of how I fight," Anakin replies. "I know your father, and I do not think he would approve of what you've become," Yoda says. "You have turned from the light. If you're so smart, why don't you just kill me, Anakin asks. Because you're my pupil and I cannot allow you to die, Yoda answers. There must be balance on the Force. You must learn to control your anger. God, they're talking again. We cannot get through this duel. Yoda dodges left and right, evading the oncoming blade. He swipes with his staff, catching Anakin across the chest. The force field surrounding Anakin begins to flicker and fade. He takes damage from the attack. That's 2-2. It's a tie game. Anakin catches himself before he falls over, but is forced to take another step backward. Yoda's staff whips around again, slicing into Anakin's shoulder. Anakin yells out in pain, falling to one knee, and Yoda has defeated the Chosen One. Yoda has defeated Anakin, and he moves to the semifinals to face General Grievous. So the final four is set. It is Luke Skywalker versus Emperor Palpatine. And then on the other side, we have General Grievous versus Yoda. Alright, Luke versus Palpatine. The first semifinal match. Luke Skywalker stares at Palpatine, readying himself to charge the Sith Lord. He raises his lightsaber and rushes at Palpatine. Palpatine smiles snidely and draws his own blade. They meet in a blur of flashing blades. Luke is forced back by the Sith Lord's speed and strength, but he keeps coming, fighting desperately with every ounce of his being. You are weak, Palpatine says calmly as he cuts down one of Luke's legs. That's one hit from Palpatine. I have no interest in killing you. Then why are we dueling? Luke asks angrily. Palpatine grins. Because I can't let you live, he yells, cutting Luke's other leg off. Luke has no legs. It's 2-0 Palpatine. The young Jedi falls to the ground screaming in agony. Luke looks up at Palpatine, who now stands over him. He takes out his lightsaber and moves it toward the Sith Lord's throat. No, Palpatine says quietly, don't do this. Luke stops moving his lightsaber. Why not? Palpatine asks, looking surprised. Because I'm your son, Luke says. What? Palpatine laughs. Your father was at... Okay, so they're not fighting anymore. We'll start from here. Don't do this, Palpatine cries, but it's too late. Luke stabs the Sith Lord through the neck. His body goes limp and he drops dead on top of Luke. Luke, with the comeback, has killed Palpatine after losing both his legs. General Grievous versus Yoda. This fight will determine who will face Luke in the finals. You're not ready to face me, Yoda yells at him. I have trained for this my entire life, which is a long freaking time, as we know. And I have been waiting for you, Grievous replies with a smirk. Again, I'm not sure how he smirks. Now, die, Jedi. He swings his blade forward, but Yoda blocks him easily. They continue their fight around the room until they come to an empty space where there is no one else present. Yoda lands on the floor, still blocking Grievous's attacks as he tries to get close enough to strike him. Grievous pushes Yoda back into the wall and strikes him twice in the chest. That counts as 2 hits. So Grievous is up 2-0 already. Yoda grunts from the impact but does not fall over. Grievous continues to press his attack, trying to knock Yoda off balance so he can deliver the killing blow. Grievous leaps forward and strikes Yoda again, knocking him off balance. That's 3-0. Grievous has won and has advanced to the finals where he'll face Luke Skywalker. Alright, here we go. We are in the final round. The champion will be crowned by the end of this. It is Luke Skywalker versus General Grievous. Luke Skywalker and General Grievous stand in the middle of a stadium. Thousands of shrieking fans cheer for the combatants. Luke has the Force and his green lightsaber. Grievous is armed with 4 of his own lightsabers. They approach each other cautiously, ready to decide who is the better duelist once and for all. The 2 men meet, their blades clashing together. Both fall back from the impact, but only one of them gets up again. Luke manages to get up first and rushes at his enemy, determined to end this fight quickly. Grievous uses the Force to throw Luke into the stands. Grievous has the Force now, where he crashes through some chairs and falls on the ground. That's 1 hit for Grievous. The crowd cheers wildly as they watch the battle unfold. Luke is still on the floor when Grievous comes after him, but before he can attack, he feels something hit his arm. He looks down and sees a small pebble that has been shot out of nowhere. He tries to shake it off, but it doesn't budge. Suddenly, he realizes what is happening. Grievous is using the Force to keep him from moving. He struggles against the invisible bonds, but there's nothing he can do. Suddenly, an explosion goes off behind Luke, causing him to turn around. There are 2 more explosions, and then a huge fireball erupts in front of him. Luke looks over his shoulder and sees a droid standing there with a blast rifle aimed directly at him. The droid Okay, so there's interference by the droid, but Grievous is up by 1. The arena goes dark as a spotlight shines on them. A hologram appears over their heads. This fight will be broadcasted throughout the entire galaxy, it says. Your actions here will determine your fate. Grievous raises his arms into the air. I am the best duelist in the galaxy, he shouts, and I'm going to prove it right now. He lunges at Luke. Luke deflects one of the attacks and retaliates with a lightning strike that slices through Grievous's left arm. That's 1-1. The droid cries out in pain, but continues to attack. You can't defeat me. I have the Force, Grievous taunts. Luke swings his lightsaber around like a lasso, grabbing hold of Grievous's body and pulling him close. He slashes down with his blade, slicing off the top of the droid's head, top half of the droid's head. The crowd erupts in cheers. Luke takes his victory lap around the stadium while Grievous falls to the ground in pieces. Luke Skywalker has won. He is the best duelist in Star Wars. It is determined by the AI that Luke is superior than every other duelist in Star Wars. So that's it, folks. Luke has defeated General Grievous and has claimed the title as the greatest duelist in Star Wars. Let me know if you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see something like this again. Maybe we can throw 16 different characters into a bracket and see who wins, or maybe we can retry this one. Let me know. Leave a like and subscribe if you feel we deserve it. I'm Zach, and I'll see you in the future.